Hi everyone. Hope you are all doing good. This is Anand Vemulapati again from Vidya Naipunya. Today I would like to cover an important and a complex concept, perceived as complex, which is Azure Data Factory. I will try to make it simple for you. Let me share my screen. We'll just try to do a demo of Azure Data Factory. Let me share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm trying to show you. Okay. So before we get into the demo, actual demo, I would like to cover some concepts, fundamental concepts of Data Factory so that you will be able to understand everything easily, whatever I am going to show you. Okay, so if you see Azure Data Factory at a 10,000 feet level, this single diagram, right? This diagram is showing what Azure Data Factory is. If you look at this diagram, here is Azure Factory. I am trying to get the data from multiple devices, applications, web, databases, right? IoT devices, social media, everything. So this is trying to get the data. You are ingesting the data from multiple data streams or data sources. Data Factory will take all the data and then it is moving the data to a target data source again, right? So this is all. This is the crux of Data Factory. What it is doing, it is a data integration service. The only integration service in Azure, Microsoft Azure, though other services in Azure use Data Factory as integral part of it, but Azure Data Factory is a data integration service where you can do some data orchestration. So at a fundamental level, it can take data from multiple data sources, process the data. When I say process the data, data cleaning, data cleansing, data duplication, data normalization, data transformation, whatever you want to call, right? Process all the data. So all you are getting is the raw data here. So here you get the raw data from multiple sources. The data can be given to Data Factory where you process the data and you just send a high quality data. This is a clean data, which means this is ready for analysis, whatever data. So you are preparing the data for analysis by doing some processing, right? So you can send the data to some another data source, target data source. In this diagram, it is showing data lake storage, but you can send it to any other data source which can perform analytics, where you can perform analytics. So you are making the raw data, taking raw data, and then making the data ready for analysis. That is the primary job of Azure Data Factory. Let us try to go to the next level of details. Now we understood what is Data Factory at a top level. This diagram, if you see this diagram, there is something called activity. So this activity is actually where you are processing the data. This is Data Factory. But what it is processing data from a data set. What is data set? Whatever data that you are getting from this source system, these are all data sources. So you get a subset of the data for process that is called as a data set. How you get the data from a target system or a source system, how you get the data, you need to connect to it. How you can connect? That is nothing but a linked service. So linked service, just a terminology of Data Factory, right? Linked service is nothing but a connection to a source system or a destination system. So here it is a source system, here it is a destination system because I am sending the data. You want to send the data to somewhere else, you need to connect to it first of all. That means you need to create a linked service. So all we need is a linked service that you need to create to whatever systems that you want to connect. You may want to connect to 10 systems, 20 systems, right? Based on your requirement. So you need to create linked services where you, based on that linked service connection which you are creating, you can create data sets and those data sets can be fed into Data Factory. And activity is something which is processing the data. It is a data process step. You can have one or more activities. A group of activity, logical grouping of activities called as a pipeline. That's it. Very simple, right? So we have completed just understanding what is Data Factory. You can build a pipeline. Pipeline is nothing but a group of activities. An activity is nothing but a process step where you are processing the data. It can be removing some duplicates, it can be sorting, it can be some calculation that you are doing on the data, whatever processing that you are doing. And then linked service is something where you are connecting and getting the data set from a data store. So to perform all these actions, you need some compute engine, some compute power, right? CPU power, memory, all those things are required. That is called as integration runtime. So let us look at an example so that it becomes more clear for you. If you look at this diagram, here they are trying to move the data from a CSV file. If you look at this source, this is a CSV file which is in Azure storage account, blob. It is in a container. They are trying to move the data at the end of the day to SQL database. This is my data sink. Data sink is your data store, target data store where you are storing the data. So they are moving the data from CSV to SQL. But what is involved in that? You are copying the data. There is an activity called copy activity, and you are creating a linked service here. This is my source linked service. This is my target linked service. So one linked service for SQL, one linked service for blob, because you need to connect to both the systems. Here to pull the data from the source, there to send the data to SQL database. And here you are getting the data set. This is the raw data. This is the processed data, and activities where the pipeline is having, right? You can have more than one activity as well, or even one activity is also enough. Probably in this case, one activity is there. And the whole thing is done by using an integration runtime, and Azure Data Factory supports three different types of runtimes. I don't want to go into further details because I want to get into the demo. So let us dive into the demo. I think this should be good enough for you to understand what I am going to show. So let me go to the portal. So I am logged into my Azure portal. If you look at this, workshop RGP, which is my resource group, doesn't have anything, right? As though everything is blank. That means resource group is a container where you create resources. Here, this particular resource group right now doesn't have any resources. I'm going to create resources. So what kind of demo that you can do? If I go back to my PowerPoint, so this is a slide that I pulled from my Azure workshop, which I conduct, right? So we do multiple types of demos because all my classes are interactive sessions. We can perform different types of demos here, but for this session, I will do this, right? Merging multiple files into one. This is some demo that we can cover right now with whatever concept that we have learned. So what this means, what we are going to do, I'm going to take um, let us say CSV files, right? So I have file 1.csv, I have file 2.csv. You can have any number of CSV files. Let us say they are having a common structure, and I want to move all these things. These are all in where? These are in storage account. So I am having a container called input container. Let us say there is an input container and there is an output container. In the same Azure storage account, I will have output container. So my target is we will merge all these files and then move all these files as one file into output container. So I am going to use a data factory here with a copy activity, which is a pipeline that I am going to create in data factory. So I am going to create a linked service, uh, one blob linked service so that I can connect to blob. One linked service is enough because my source is also storage account. My target is also blob storage. So same linked service I am going to use. Linked service is nothing but a connection as we have already learned. So I will take the data source here. This is my source data set. And for my target data set, that I'm going to move to my target output container, I'm going to merge. So here I may have probably this one is having 10 rows, this one is having 20 rows, this one is having 30 rows. So this should have, because I'm going to merge all the files, so you will have like 60 rows. That is what we are going to send it to output. So this is what we are going to demo. Let us just go back to my portal. So we need a storage account. So I will just create a storage account. Just search for storage account, click on create. Okay, so I will just use the same resource group. My storage account name is Vidya storage account 1. And okay, let us say account 1. You can create a storage account in any region because Azure is having global infrastructure throughout the world. You can choose any region. For this demo, let me just choose Australia East. And then primary service, you can choose blob files, and because I'm going to create some blob containers, or you can leave it so that you can create anything. And standard performance is good enough. I will just go for LRS, which is locally redundant storage. That means the storage account is going to make 3 copies of my data within the same data center. Local redundant. Local means within the same data center. So it will protect from hardware failures only, which is good enough for my demo. And then do a next. So all these other options are optional, right? You can just disable or select whatever you want. So I will just enable public access. I will just go for review and create because we can just speed up the demo. I will just create a storage account now. And once the validation is successful, okay, I can click on this create button. Now storage account is creation is in progress. You can see the bell icon. You can click on the bell icon and then see. Meanwhile, let me just go to the files and try to see what I'm going to upload. So if I go back to my laptop, I have demo files. Here I will have 2 files, right? I have some employees data from UK, employees data from USA. I'm going to upload these 2 files to my input container. And then the demo is, the purpose is, the goal is to merge these 2 things and get all employees into some output folder, which is a target container. I want to merge all the data. Let us try to do this. So I will just go back to my portal. Hopefully storage account creation is done. Yes, it is done. And I will just go to containers and then create 2 containers. One is for input container, one is called input. You can give whatever name you want. Only storage account name needs to be unique globally. But container names, you can give whatever name you want. So I'm just creating 2 containers. One is input, another one is output. Create. And these are like private access. If you see, these are all like private containers. I will just go to input folder. I will upload those 2 files. Browse files. I will just select both of them, upload. Right now, the files are uploaded. Let us just examine the data. If you review the data, just click on that. One of those files, go to edit. This is the data. You can just click on preview also. So I have some UK data, which is like 1200, 1201, some dummy data, right? Random data, employee ID, first name, last name, department, salary. Same data is also available in USA, but employee ID names are different, right? If you see this other data, other file, let me review. This is 1001, 1002. That is 1200. So here there are some files, but same structure, first name, last name, department, salary. So same files are there. Structure is there, but the data is different. So my target is we want to merge these 2 files. I can have 2 files, I can have 20 files, it doesn't matter. I will just show you in the demo, it will work no matter how many number of files that you have, as long as the structure is same. You can combine data from multiple files. So what I will do, we need to create a data factory. Let me just open a new tab. I will just go to the new tab so that we can look at what is being created. So now if I go to my resource group, I have only one resource, which is my storage account. So here I'm going to create another resource, which is data factory. So just search for data factories, click on data factory, create. I'm going to create in the same resource group. I'll just give Vidya data factory 1 some name, and then I will just select same region, and that is good enough. I don't want to make changes anywhere else. Let me just do next, or you can just directly click on review and create. No problem. So that will create a data factory resource. But now I need to create the components of the data source. And by now we already know what are the components of a data factory, right? So you have linked service, you have data sets, you have integration runtime, pipeline, all those things you have to create in Data Factory Studio. That is the portal, different portal outside of Azure, where you are going to jump into that portal. And then once you go to the portal, you can create all the data factory components. I will just show you. So now data factory creation is done. So this is my data factory, as you can see, with the Azure Data Factory DF1. So here you just need to click on Launch Studio. Now I am in Data Factory Studio. We are going to create a pipeline now. So once you go to the data factory, let us just try to familiarize ourselves with the interface of Data Factory Studio. We just expand this left panel. I have this home, author, monitor, and all. Home is having some uh, small portlets here. You can just click on the author left hand side. Here is what you are going to create, any component. What you can create pipeline, you can create data sets, data flows, all these things. And monitor is where you can monitor your pipeline runs, ticker runs, right? If you can see what are the things that you can monitor, you can manage multiple things. So these three tabs are important. So I will just create a data pipeline for now. Just go to author, click on this pipeline, and then these ellipses, three dots, you can just click on new pipeline, or you can click on this plus sign also, and then go to pipeline. Let me collapse this left side panel, leftmost panel, so that you get some space. So now I'm just going to my pipeline. I can give some name. This is again optional. Let me just do pipeline. Let us say MergeFiles PL, MergeFiles pipeline. This is my pipeline to MergeFiles. There are so many activities available, right? Activity is nothing but an action step, right? Action that you are doing some on your data. As I mentioned, there is some move and transform activities, signups activities, data explorer. Lot of activities out of the box are available. The beauty of Data Factory is you don't need to write any code, right? It is just a drag and drop interface. There are general activities available. You can see lookup, append, validation, webhook, so many things are available. So for this demo, all we need is a copy data factory. So copy data activity, because I'm going to copy the data from source to destination, but in between I'm going to merge all the data from the source and then send it to destination. We will see how to do that. So let's just drag and drop. So now I have copy data. So since it is activity, just have to configure this, right? To configure copy data, you need a source and you need a destination. Where you are copying the data from, that is the source. Where you are sending the data to or copying the data to, that is the destination. You can just give some name, again optional. Let us say merge data is my copy data activity name I'm giving. You can go to source. Now I need to connect to my source system. Source is what? Here, in this case, for this demo, both source and destination are blob storage, Azure blob storage, because I have my input output containers in the blob itself. So you need to connect to blob, but to connect to blob, what we need a linked service. I don't have a data set right now. You just click on new, and then say that it is, we can connect to multiple data sources, right? Target systems are sources. Lot of data connectors are available out of the box. If you see, not just for Azure services like SAP, HANA, Salesforce, right? Postgres, Presto, Oracle, so many connectors are available out of the box. So for this, I will just say blob storage because I'm going to connect to blob storage. That is where I'm getting the data from. And it is a delimited text file. What type of data? It is a delimited because CSV file. Continue. And I will just say source data. You can, it's again optional. You can just change the name or you don't need to change the name. And you need a connection to connect to the data source. That is called linked service. The terminology is linked service. You don't have any connection, so you need to create a connection. I will just do new, and then let us say blob connection, right? Blob linked service, blob ls. And then you need to select your subscription and what is the storage account I have already created. So it is pulling the storage account name automatically based on my subscription. This is the storage account name. And I think everything looks good. Before you go ahead and click on create, you can even test the connection, right? You can just uh, click on this bottom right side. There is a test connection option available. Just click on that to make sure that you are able to connect to your storage account successfully. Yes, connection is successful. I will just say create. Now we can create. Now this will create a linked service, which is a connection to my blob storage. But where is my source data? Source data is in input. So I need to select the file path. Just click on this file path, select input. I will not go to a file level because I'm not selecting a one or two files, specific files. I want to copy all the files in this input container. So I will just go to only input and then click on OK. So this is my input container. It will take all the files. And then first row is header, correct? Because I have a header in both the files. Click on OK. Now this will create a source data set. You can even preview the data. If you can see this specs icon, there is an option available for you to preview the data just to make sure. You can just click on that and see that it is able to pull the data. So it has pulled that UK data, 1200, whatever is the count, right? The employee IDs that we have seen. So our preview is successful. But here, what I'm going to do, I will just say wildcard file path because I don't want to select a specific file. I want to select all the files. So just select wildcard file path. That means you can just give star.csv. Let us say if there are some images, some other files are also available. You want to select only CSV files, or I can just do even emp star.csv. That means whatever file name that is starting with employee and ending with .csv format, it will pick up. So since I don't have so many other files, I will just do star is a wildcard. So that means it will pick up all the files in that input container. Here I don't have to do even .csv. Now this is done. Next one is sync. Sync is your target. So for sync data set, again, what is my sync target system is again blob storage. So you can just click on blob storage. You can just click on new, select your blob storage, continue. And what should be the format? The data format is again same thing. It is delimited text. My target data is also in CSV format. That is what I want. Click on continue. Here linked service, right? You can just say target data or let us say target data source. Okay. Linked service, you don't have to create again because my source linked service, my destination linked service, both are storage account only. We have already created a linked service for to connect to the source. Same thing I can use here also. I can just do this blob ls, blob linked service, which I have created earlier. But where the data should be copied to output folder. So I just select output, click on OK. Okay. And that is good. Click on OK again so that you come back to the sync tab here. And then how you want to copy the data here. I want to merge all the data. So here you can select an option called MergeFiles. You see this flatten hierarchy, preserve hierarchy, all these things. Here, because I am trying to merge the data, right, from multiple files within the source into one file. It is MergeFiles is what you need to select. And you can even give the file name, right? For example, I can just click on open and give some file name, let us say all employees.csv, because otherwise it will just, if you don't give a name, the system will select some random name for you. But here I want to, for the target data source, I'm just giving that all employees.csv as the name. and no other changes. Okay, so I'll just go back to this. And the mapping, how the mapping should happen between source and target, right? How you want to map the data. You can just click on import schemas. This will import the schema from source and try to map it to target. If you see this, so already it found based on my linked service, it found that okay, the source data is having EMP ID, first name, last name, department, salary. You can just change it to employee ID, for example, if you want, right? You may want to merge first name, last name into full name. That also can be done. That is another demo, right? That we have seen here, right? You can just, okay, I think I don't have it here, but you can uh, even do that demo, right? Where you can merge multiple fields, concatenate fields. Here I'm not doing any of that. So we are simply merging the data and then sending the data to the target system. So this is good enough. And I think all looks good. You can again click on previous source to see the data, but we have already done it. So before I just go ahead and run my pipeline settings, okay, I don't have to change anything here. So my general tab is done, source tab is done, sync tab is also done. We can just go ahead and run the pipeline. Before I go and run the pipeline, you can just validate, click on validate. So your pipeline has been validated just to make sure there are no errors. Okay, close. Now you can just debug it just to run your pipeline. Click on debug. Now this will start running that particular activity where I'm having this copy data. So this is queued and the process has begun. So now it will try to, I have given the name as merge data. So it is processing that. So now if I go back to my portal, if I go to storage accounts, if I go to my resource group itself, right? For example, you should be able to see the resources that I have created. If I go to my workshop resource group, I have two resources. One is my storage account, another one is data factory. Storage account is having two containers, which is input and output. Input is having these two files, which we have already uploaded. So now what we are expecting is that output container should get this merged data. Okay. So let me just wait for some time. Okay. Looks like it is succeeded. The data copying is done. Let me just go back to storage account. I go to output. If you see the name, I have given all employees.csv. Now the copying is done. Let us see what is it has merged all the data or not, right? I had some 1001, 1002 US employees, 2001, 2002 like that for UK employees. Let us see how the merging is done. You can just select that file, go to edit. You can see this 1001, 1002, this data is also there. Okay, I think 1200, not 2000. 1200 data is also there. You can just click on preview just to make sure you are getting in a proper way. So this is a CSV file. We have given the name. So 1200, all data. It has copied everything properly. So now my demo is done. So it is successful. You can see that we are able to merge both the data, 1001, 1200, all these data files, right? Both the data from both the files are merged into one. You can just have, you can upload another file to this input folder. Let us say employees India or employees Japan, whatever, another file. And then you can run the pipeline again, right? If I go back to my Data Factory Studio, you can see the Data Factory, there is a specs icon, details. You can just click on this specs icon and then see that what it has done, right? You can see that this is copied the data from blob storage to blob storage. Both are in Australized region. And how many rows were read here? 40 rows because two files. You can see files read is two. So 20 rows from each file. And it has copied to one file only. Files written is only one file and then 40 rows. So how much time it took, all those things, all these details you can see here, right? So now my demo is done successfully, I can just do a cleanup now because I want to save cost. I don't want to spend money. If I just leave it like this, storage account, other things will cost money for me. So I will just go to my resource group and then select both the resources. Now the demo is successful. You can just click on delete, delete, confirm that, and then the storage account, data factory, all other resources will be deleted. Okay. So that's all for now. And thanks for watching. Please follow my channel for more learnings like this. And I will see you in the next session. Take care. Bye bye.